Okay, on to hockey now, and I have Sam Spooner in the studio with me. I'm delighted to say. How are you, Sam?
Yeah, stress. Too many goals this weekend.
There's a lot of goals this weekend. Yeah, too many in one game, it seems. So let's dive straight in. And in the men's hockey Prem, we've got Backers A 27, Harlequins A 0.
I predicted a big win for Backers. I didn't
Surely
predict.
not that
I didn't
big.
predict a massive win for Backers. It has to be said. Talking to Chris Cave about it last night, I said if you keep it below 10, I'll buy us all some cakes. Given the amount
No
of
cakes for Chris Cave.
I'm almost tempted to buy them some anyway. I mean, I feel unfortunately, due to the nature of the leagues this year, this sort of thing's going to happen. You're going to have big goals in class, and Backers A, I knew they were going to go all out to close up that goal difference, and they've not just closed it up, they've smashed 27 goals past Harlequins A, 6 hat-tricks in the same game. Johnny Callow with 5, Colm Moore with 5, Paddy Cox with 5. Now he's come back to the squad and he just can't stop scoring. I think that's 10 goals in 3 games he's scored now. Andy Whiting with 3, Tony Bentley-Roberts with 4, Jamie Brown with 3, and then Elliot Reid and Alex Lace on the score sheet for Backers A as well. So yeah, massive win, and that puts Backers A top of the league, 7 goals ahead on goal difference.
Tough day at the office for Harlequins A. You've got to feel for them. I mean, could they have done anything more, do you think?
I'll be honest, Harlequins A, there are some very, very good young players in that side, and they shouldn't be disheartened by that result. The Backers A team, they've been together for years, all the way through junior hockey. Their core group of players, like Jamie Brown, Andy Whiting, Johnny Callow, and they were pretty much coached by Colm Moore coming through as well. So they've been a core and a well-knit group for years. Harlequins, those young players coming through now, they're going to be that sort of team in the next sort of core group of well-knit together players in the next 5 or 6 years. So keep your heads down, keep plodding on, and don't worry about it.
Good advice. Backers B 5, Saracens A 2.
Yeah, Saracens are in a bit of trouble this season. They're struggling. Craig Leese with a hat-trick for Backers B, James Leese and Harry Kalin on the score sheet for Backers B. What that result does do is put Backers B in the top half of the table. And I don't believe they'll stay there, but they're looking pretty handy for knocking Ramsey A out of that top 4 space, and Backers potentially doing themselves a favour by having 2 teams in the top 4 for the title fight. Saracens A goal scorers today were Tom Roberts and George Powell. Saracens, unfortunately, have lost a few players this season to other teams. I'm sure they'll recover. They still have some very, very good young players in their junior squads that are just going to start coming through. But it's going to be a tight battle between them and Harlequins for relegation this year.
I thought this next game was going to be a bit closer. So Ramsey A 0, Valkyries A 3.
I always thought Valkyries A were going to win. I expected Ramsey to maybe score, given the class they have in their squad. But Valkyries A did really well this week. Luis Novo-Smith with a goal and Robin Masson with 2. But he did miss a penalty flick as well. So the beers are on him tonight with the jugs.
And finally, another tough day for Vikings B, but Interclub Derby, Vikings A 9, Vikings B 0.
Yeah, kind of expected. They knew the scoreline of the Backers A, Harlequins A score, and Vikings A knew they had to go out and score a hatful today. And they've gone and done that, to be fair. 9-0 win against Vikings B. Backers A beat them 8-1, I believe, so they've got a slight advantage in their head-to-heads goal difference. Tim Henderson with 2, Tom Wilson with 3, Stephen Roman with 2, Nathan Evans and Archie Cayley on the score sheet for Vikings A.
Moving on to the women's Prem, Castletown A 16, Harlequins A 0.
It's been a bad day for the office for Harlequins today. And again, I think it's just one of those with the gulfing class between the sort of the top 5, maybe 6 teams, and the bottom 2 or 3 teams is plainly evident at the minute. Hannah Leese with 6, Danny Kelly with 6, Zoe Shimon with 3, Molly Howland on the score sheet as well for Castown A. And that puts Castown A into second place following the other results in the league today.
Strong result. There were a few netball names there that you mentioned, so well done to them. Ramsey A 0, Backers A 3.
Yeah, and this really good result for Backers A. Then after last week losing out to Vikings A, and they knew they had to step up this week. Ramsey A is probably going to be their closest challengers for that top 4 spot, and I thought Backers A deserved the win today. Rosie Callow with 2 and Sophie Howland on the score sheet for Backers A there. Ramsey A pushes them into the bottom half of the table and into 5th place, and Bacca's ladies go into 3rd place.
Sophie Halland is doing very well. Didn't she make her debut the other week?
Yeah, and she scored on debut as well. So yeah, there's Bacca's A, I have to say, I've said this every week, they've recruited incredibly well in the 1 week off season. So yeah, I expect big things at Bacca's A this year.
Fantastic. And then we've got Valkyries B 3, Saracens A 0.
A big result for Valkyries B. Again, Saracens ladies have lost a few players this year, the likes of Sophie Howland leaving to go to Bacca's. And this just seems they're struggling, but if they can just hold on, keep pushing on. Again, they've got tons of youngsters that are ready to come through and feed through once they reach the right age. Valkyries B goal scorers were Becky Corkish, Andrea Littlejohns and Ali Karoon.
And the big game of the day, of course, was Vikings A versus Valkyries A, and it was Vikings that took the win 1-0.
I just love games between these two teams. They are so close. And it just seems that Valkyries just cannot quite overcome.
What do they need to do? What is that little bit more that they need to give?
I think finishing. I think today the reports I'm getting is that their finishing didn't let them down. It was just they couldn't quite find the back of the net. And I think that's the past 3 results between these two sides now that have ended with 1 goal between them. And I just think Valkyries they're almost ready. They're almost ready to beat Vikings on a hockey pitch.
Do you think Vikings have got the mental edge?
I think given their dominance of the past few years, bar that one season that Valkyries A managed to claim the title for one reason or another, I think they've got the confidence and the experience in that position. Valkyries have always been the chaser, if you know what I mean. And it's just that one tiny cog that they just need to go up that one gear, and I think they can do it. And I think it's going to be exciting to see these two teams face off again later in the season.
Absolutely. In men's Div 1, Bacca's C 0, Castletown A 6.
Yeah, big performance from Castletown A. The old boys on the score sheet again. I'm sure they'll not like me for saying that, but Paul Kelly with 5 and Donald Stewart on the score sheet for Castletown A, and they've really boosted a very young side that struggled last season. But these players that have come back into the squad, they've really helped the side improve. And it's the same thing I hear every week. It's the young boys doing the running, but it's the old boys putting the ball in the back of the
net. Exciting game between Harlequins B and Bacca's Colts. Harlequins B 3, Colts 4, which you'll be happy with. It
was a tight game. I think I might be wrong in this, but I think Harlequins are 2-1 up at half time. Bacca's Colts, they've got some really, really good young players in there, coupled with the likes of Andy Neal, Tim Leeming, PVB. PVB and Tim Leeming are legends at Manx hockey, it has to be said. Andy Neal with 3, Jason Miranda on the score sheet there for Bacca's Colts. The young Alfie Swales with 2 for Harlequins B, and Ben Cunningham as well. And mark my words, Alfie Swales is going to be a pretty hot prospect in the next few years.
Ramsey B 1, Castletown B 1.
Yeah, and the reports I'm getting, and I've got to read this out because it's not often you get really, really good feedback like this from both teams, really. Really respectful game, pleasure to play in. Only issue today was the weather. Yeah. But both teams seemed to really enjoy the game. Really close game, 1-1. Man of the match, really, for Ramsey B was Mark Arden, the goalkeeper, pulling off some worldy saves. And Dan Stevenson was a goal scorer for Ramsey B.
Fantastic. And then there were a lot of actually close matches in this league in terms of league position. So we had Valkyries B versus Vikings C, but Interclub easy win for Valkyries B 4-0.
Yeah, sorry, it's Valkyries versus Vikings.
Oh, Vikings, sorry, I do apologise. Yeah.
And when you look at the standard of the players that Valkyries B had, and their former Island players, Chris Caldwell, Neil Jacobs, Chris Thomas on the score sheet for Valkyries B, and the ageless Graham Shimon getting on the score sheet as well. And Vikings C, they were a little bit disorganised in the second half. They had a couple of cards when the subs came back on, and they played without a left wing back for about 20 minutes of the second half because nobody realised that nobody had filled the position in when the left wing back got sin-binned. So yeah, it lessons for Vikings C today, especially for some of the much younger players. But to be fair, it was a really enjoyable game to play in, very physical. But yeah. Valkyries B 4-0 winners, 3-0 half-time score, and it just puts them top of the table by 2 points from Castletown A.
And in the women's Div 1, Ramsey B 0, Castletown B 3. I
didn't expect Castletown B, and I'm sorry to say this, but I didn't expect Castamby to win by 3-0 to be honest. 1-0 at half time. Claire Heath and Dan Yates with their 2 goals.
What were you expecting?
I was expecting, I thought Castamby might just nick it. I didn't expect, a clean sheet and 3 goals, to be honest with you. But that puts Castamby into 2nd place, I believe. So they're doing really, really well this season. Valkyrie C, I think they're going to be there or thereabouts in the top half of the table. But that top of the table battle between Bacchus B and Castamby is going to be pretty close, I think.
It's a late start for Valkyrie C and Viking C, so I don't have a score.
That was Valkyrie C 3, Viking C 0. The young and ever-improving Kate Doran with 2, and Emma Miller on the score sheet for Valkyrie C. That gives them their first points of the season, and puts them in a really good position to try and fight for that top half of the table.
And then finally we have Vikings B1, Bacchus B2.
Yeah, Bacchus B just about winning in what proved to be a really, really close game. Carly Craig with 2 for Bacchus B. Vikings B, it's probably dented the title hopes a little bit, but if they compete like this against the likes of Bacchus B, they've still got a potential return fixture to come. And I think you're going to have the 3 B teams, Bacchus, Vikings and Castan, fighting for this title win. D. Gimbert was on the score sheet for Vikings B.
Highlights from this weekend for you personally?
I'm still walking.
Yeah, that is always a bonus.
And to be honest, I think that the Valkyries A Vikings A game, it just sets the season up so well, because I just think Valkyries A might just be able to just go that one step further, and I shouldn't be urging them on, but I am urging them on. I want them to compete like they have been, because the games between the two sides have always been awesome to watch. It's like a Vikings A, Bacchus A in the men's hockey. They're great games to watch, and you can guarantee you will not be bored watching one of those games. So I'm really looking forward to the ladies' second half of the season when they play each other again.